Welcome back, everybody, to the Breakthrough Moment podcast. Today's special guest is a good friend of mine, Josh Dittmer. What's up, man? Are you there?
G'day, man.
Welcome.
Good to see you. I look way more professional than I feel in real life. This is like a bit
You-
serious. The hair.
You're like the Clark Kent of the entrepreneurial world these days, under there's Superman's outfit. I'm super excited for this. For those of you who are joining the podcast for the first time, this is where we interview successful entrepreneurs and investors and ask them what is their breakthrough moment, the pivotal moment that took them into the next level of success. And as they share their breakthroughs with us at home can have breakthroughs as well. I'm going to do a quick little intro and let's dive straight into it, man. So for those of you who don't know Josh is an operating partner start that again. Josh is an operating partner who builds and runs high-ticket sales systems for founders who want predictable revenue without being stuck managing sales. He's scaled teams to multi-million-dollar monthly revenues, trained hundreds of sales reps, and with the focus on execution over theory. Exciting. Awesome. I know you from way back. You had a background in health and wellness. We connected back in Sydney, which was another breakthrough moment, which you might share. But before we go into more of the past there, tell us, man, what has been the biggest breakthrough moment throughout your career?
Yeah, man. So I think my contextually for this thing, I've been doing sales for about 9 years and selling everything from like door to door to healthcare stuff to corporate, like PayPal, Lululemon, selling the research, and then selling crypto, all sorts of different stuff. So I think the breakthrough moment in that sales dynamic was understanding how much work it takes to actually be really great and understanding that people just want to have a conversation. And I think like learning my very first sales trainer was like, Josh, you need to learn the script so you can forget the script. And I was like, what is this? Yoda, thanks, bye. And just like didn't listen to him, went knocked much more doors. And I was like, Roberto, how do I get better at sales? And he was like, you need to learn the script so you can forget the script. And I was like, whatever, this is stupid. And they would go and not get results, come back, ask him the same question like for months. And then once I actually like studied and learnt the script and learnt what I was saying, I understood that he actually meant that you need to learn everything that you're meant to say about the pitch, about the script, about the discovery. So then you're not thinking about what is the next thing I need to say while you're having a conversation with somebody. And you're actually just internalizing the process. So then you can have a conversation to a human being and actually listen to them and respond rather than react.
That must have been a big breakthrough. So you went off and then learnt the script and came back. Did your sales improve? A quick pause before we continue. Hey, everybody, please, if you're enjoying this podcast, if it's allowing you to think differently and have your own breakthrough moment too, please subscribe. Please like this video, share it with somebody else, and even comment below. I'd love to know what has been your biggest breakthrough moment listening to today. I read all the comments and your responses help me shape the future of this podcast so other people can have breakthroughs too. All right, let's get back to it.
Yeah, like unbelievably so. Yeah, that changed the game for me. And I think like a lot of people just get into sales and there's not a lot of proper training and education. And so we don't practice or take it seriously as you would studying something or, taking a career seriously. And there is a career ladder here in sales where you can go from making $3,000 a month to $10,000 to $20,000 to $50,000. You can make really good money in this space and live an amazing laptop lifestyle while getting to service great people and making a
Sure, for sure. I'm super curious. I'm super curious on then what happened next in your career? Like, how did you utilize those lessons? What are some other lessons that you learned along the way that have really helped your sales journey?
I hated corporate. That's what I learned pretty quickly. That seemed like the natural career path. It was like getting some corporate opportunities and, felt really fancy flying around and, flew business class and was going and presenting to like the United Nations. And we did a lot of crazy stuff like that. But it was like long. And for a lot of people that get into sales, I think that you get trapped down this like path of what you think is going to be satisfying and like all the things that look cool and are actually like no fun at all. Like trying to sell someone over a year to close one deal made me want to jump off a cliff. And like, I really found that like, okay, I'm like a quick turnaround person. I like rewards. I like dopamine and I like closing as many deals as possible. And then, finding my groove in the high ticket space online was like a really big moment. And then getting to realize like, I want location freedom and I want time freedom. It's like I want to work in any time zone that I want, and I want to be able to go anywhere that I want in the world.
You've been traveling now for how long?
Five
Long time.
years, 5 years full time. Yeah,
Wild,
yeah,
wild.
okay.
You mentioned a second ago that one of the big things that you learned was the amount of time or work required to be successful. Can you tell us more about that?
I think like especially coming into the internet, there's so much like so many shortcuts sold to us, and so then as a youngin with like not a lot of mentorship or guidance, you just believe what's in front of you. I believed what was in front of me, and I thought that like I just needed to find that one opportunity that would like change my life. And so I jumped around to different things like too quickly. And if you can just like stick it out and get really, really good. And like I've worked 6, 7 days a week for like the last 6 years. So yeah, 6 years consistently. And it's like those extra days, they add up and they make a difference, you know. And I think that's becoming a bit more normalized nowadays. But it was like, it was less of the shortcutty stuff, and really understanding like you get to be good at like a few things in life. You only have enough time to be like really great at a couple of things. And so deciding what is the thing you're going to be really, really great at and dedicating the time to like really trying to master that and realizing, like I've got a friend of mine who, he's got like he's one of the top wealth managers in Canada. I'm trying not to like omit any private details. But like they manage a lot of money, and it's like he just decided, and it took him 15 years to get to where he's at, working 7 days a week and just hustling. And he's like retiring at 42 with a lot of freedom and like getting to do whatever the hell he wants in life, and just like, thankfully I had other people in life that were further along than me that I got to learn from and like really experience what it takes to be, that next level.
That's interesting. A buddy of mine, he's in finance too, and Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan. And he says, yeah, it takes at least 5 years to get good at anything, to at least start to make a bit of an impact. And what do they say? It's like a 10-year or 20-year overnight success. There's people that pop out of nowhere, or you see them online, or they've been successful, and you're like, well, there's 10 or 20 years of hard work, 6, 7 days a week, slogging it for a long period of time. It just doesn't come out of nowhere. And yeah,
Totally, man. I get like so easily distracted, and like I love new things. And so it's like really difficult to just stay focused and just focus on one thing and follow my own advice. And so I think like it's almost like become a discipline to just focus on one thing. It's like my dad, he didn't have options. He was like, he worked on a fishing boat, and then he became a heavy diesel mechanic, and then that was it. And he was a heavy diesel mechanic. It's like, and he's an amazing heavy diesel mechanic, and that's all he does. And because there wasn't another choice, you know what I mean? He either was going to stay on the fishing boats or be a mechanic. And so, whereas like with too many options, I feel like my brain and a lot of our brains, you get like, overstimulated for the opportunities. And then I would be way further ahead if I just decided, 7 years ago that I'm just going to do this one thing and just commit to it. And I've always thankfully come back and realize that like, this is my gift. This is what I'm good at.
So what is that gift? Like, how would you articulate it? What is that thing that you're really sharpening the axe to, so to speak?
I think it's creating connection and being authentic in a transaction. And sounds weird, but that's a skill. Is like, how do I guide someone along this path to, they have a little bit of interest to realizing that they need this enough to hand over 20, 30, 40, $50,000 and do that in a way that feels very authentic and real. And you're just having a conversation. And it's like, everything has come back to what Roberto said 7 years ago of like, learn the script to forget the script. It's like, that's ultimately the skill of what you're learning is you're learning all these new tactics and ways to guide people to ultimately just be present with somebody.
Do you believe that sales, having the skill of sales is something that someone's born with, or it's developed?
No, dude, I was like retarded. We were like, we were homeschooled. We grew up in like remote communities and like all this sort of stuff. And like, it was like found it easy to, I think, be authentic and connect to people. But I definitely had to learn how to be a salesperson for sure. I think, and I've taken like complete newbie kids And like, I've got a kid right now that I'm mentoring, and he like, he's in Texas, he's in Houston. He's a family friend of my wife's, and like, he's 18, he's fucking clueless about life, and he's just keen, you know. And it's like, I'm gonna turn this kid into like a monster. And I totally, like, I definitely don't think he's born with it, but he's got the desire to get after it and figure it out.
Wait to like interview him in a year's time or 2 years
Yeah.
time. Be like, this is what Josh said about you. But that whole premise of like, sell me a pen, is that a thing? You know, from Wolf of Wall Street, this whole thing. Like,
I
what
don't
does that
like it.
even?
I don't like. Yeah, I don't really like it. It's a bit of a strange, like. I think it's just to put people on the spot to figure out if they're going to look for like gaps. You know, instead of talking about features of a pen, you need to understand what the person needs to sell the benefits of them having a pen. And I think that's the point. And I think that like it's become a thing to try and get like a quick line out of somebody. But I think the point is correct. You know, it's like what is missing in this person's life that makes them need the pen.
For sure. It's for me, it's the most awkward feeling trying to see if someone wants to buy something that they don't want or need. You know, that to me feels sticky and like weird. Like, I'm trying to sell something to you that you don't want or need. Like, that doesn't feel good. But if I know that there's a desire and there's a need and there's a pain and problem that this product can solve, then that feels exciting to me.
Yeah, and I think we're really lucky in the like online high ticket spaces, because most businesses have figured out how to qualify buyers before they even get on a sales call. Whereas like, if you're like an insurance salesman doing cold calling, is like, you are starting from ground zero trying to convince this person that they need life insurance, you know, and that sounds rough. I only want to speak to people that have got interest, you know, and thankfully in the high ticket world is like, we can do that.
Yeah. You mentioned this word of authenticity, which for some people out there might think of like, oh my God, how can you sell something and be authentic? You know, are they one and the same? But I think, yeah, sales at its purest form is being super authentic and solving problems and coming from a place of service. You know, it's like one of the most honorable things you can do. Obviously, people have taken advantage of that, and there's horrible stories of bad salesmen, so to speak. But how can someone be authentic? Is that even, you know, if you say that you teach this, how do you teach authenticity? Just quickly before we continue, if you're an entrepreneur out there or a high performer who wants more clarity and direction in life, or maybe you're going through some kind of turbulent transitional phase, I want to share with you something that I co-built. It's called the Life Blueprint System. It's an AI-powered goal-setting process that helps you create a personalized life blueprint, kind of like an architectural plan or a business plan, but for your life. And so it allows you to take and capture those big ideas, those amazing thoughts you have, and to turn it into a proven plan of action. And so if you want to stop guessing and start building your future intentionally and consciously, go to thelifeblueprint.io to learn more. Let's go back to the episode.
I think it's like really like getting a lot of training. You know, coming back to the Roberto quote of like, learn the script to forget the script, is like, you really, really need to know that like, what is the set of questions that you're going to ask in the discovery, and then what are the most common responses, right? And so then you can start to have a conversation, and you're really only meeting like 5 or 6 different types of buyers, right? Different like archetypes of people in whatever you're selling. And so then you can start to meet that person without, okay, are they really intellectual? Are they really emotional? Are they trying to do this because they just like to make money and they just want to make more money? Or are they doing this to try and change their life? You know, and they're like, this is my one opportunity, and like, I'm here for it and I'm committed. And it's like, then you can start to figure out how to tie what you're talking about to those things that you discovered at the start of the conversation. And so when you can not lose yourself in like I said earlier, like, what am I going to say next? You can really start to connect with people and figure out how to solve their problems. Really, is like, a lot of people are coming to you because they got a problem, right? And so if you can just really understand the problem and why is the problem a problem, then you can figure out how to solve it.
It reminds me of when I used to do a lot of acting, and in a scene, if I was focusing on how I was being presented or myself and how I sounded and my body language, I'd be in my head. And it was like my ego. I was like, you know, trying to be a certain person. It just made me look stupid on camera. But if I was putting my focus on them and being curious and like putting my energy out this way on the person I was doing the acting scene with, it was more natural. I wasn't in my head. I was more in my heart. And do you think that's an important frame where you're really just putting curiosity at the main, uh, as the main kind of question, like finding out about them rather than finding out about you, so to speak?
Yeah, I think that that really just naturally comes when you're more present in your day-to-day life, and like you're not like doing random stuff in between sales calls. It's like if you're just like working and practicing and staying healthy, it all just flows really nicely. And I've seen guys get like there's a guy that I worked with at the crypto offer. He went from a brand new salesperson to making $60,000 in a month in like 9 months, from 0 to 60 grand a month in 9 months. And so it's like, you don't, it's like, but he just like, he focused on what he was doing. He worked really hard and he practiced and he stayed healthy. And it was like, then you're just getting in a flow of people. Right. And I don't think that there's like, yeah, I think it's just like being in a flow in your life makes such a big difference. And I think after like training so many reps, it like really is that simple. And like it's simple, but it's not easy. It's like a lot of people have that trouble getting the other thing in their life organized. Is like, oh my God, I'm having turmoil at home and I'm out drinking all the time and I'm doing whatever. And it's just like overstimulated. And then you just kind of, can't really have a conversation with somebody. It's like trying to like pick up a girl if you're like hungover and you did drugs the night before and you slept for 2 hours. It's like, oh, you're not going to do too well. That's the same thing as in a sales call.
Sure. So what you teach a lot is what's going on off the phone, off the calls. Make sure your life's in balance so you can be grounded and present so you can bring your best self. I guess like dating, you can bring your best self to every call.
Yeah, because otherwise you're just not present. All the other stuff in your life is like that's what transmutes. What's the word I'm looking for? That's what like conveys trust, right? Is like that's where the trust comes from and the authenticity comes from, is because you're just like with somebody instead of thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna get off this call, my girlfriend's gonna yell at me, or like, oh no, like I can't wait to get an Advil, I'm so hungover, I need to get off this call. Is like that's just and people will feel it and they just won't bother. And it's like when you review calls, it's like a lot of this, you're just saying words, you're reading a script, you're like learning what to say, what to respond to people. And it's what's beneath that is like you can have two people that say the exact same things on a sales call, and this person will close because they're present, and this person won't because they're like off with the Ferris.
You're making it so simple, Josh.
It's like, as I'm saying it, I'm like, I know I'm making it very simple, but it is at the end of the day. It's like, it really, and it makes you like, I love it so much because people are life, And so it's like, you can't like go through life without people. And the ultimate skill to learn is about people, is how to communicate and how to talk to people and really like help you and them get on the same side of the table and both of you get what you want. That's collaboration at the end of the day. And I think that like you need to be switched on internally to collaborate.
Makes total sense. You mentioned there's like 5 or 6 different types of people. Can you break that down a little bit?
I think it would depend on the offer that you're selling for sure. Is like, like I've sold quite a bit of like investing style offers. So there's people that have like, they've already got a lot of money and they're retired and they just want to learn. They're like, oh my God, I love crypto. I want to learn more about crypto. I want to get in this space. Like I'm retired. I'm selling my business. This is just something cool to do. There's people that just want to diversify because they're like, I actually don't care about crypto. I already make enough money elsewhere, but I want something. I don't want to be diversified. This is real now. Right. And then there's people who are like, this is my shot. This is my shot. I can make a 300% return in a year, a 400, 500% return. This is all that matters. Right. And they're going to go for them. That sort of stuff.
That's a good point. So each offer kind of figure out the different archetypes and then understand, I guess, their needs and wants and maybe the style of how to approach each conversation.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not really trying to profile people in general, into like big broad archetypes. I think that's too complicated because people come to buy a thing for a certain reason at a certain moment in their life.
There's a concept in sales called to out teach to out earn, where it's like if you can teach the prospect something on the call, it creates a sense of authority and credibility and like it adds value on the call and it's a way of standing out. Do you agree with that? And what are some other ways that you can kind of like create more authority on the call or more credibility so that, you know, the person, especially for someone who's new to this, can, I guess, lead the conversation towards a sale?
I think like to outteach is to outsell. Is that the term? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't really heard that before. I think that like that kind of makes sense, but I think it's like if you fixate, I think it's the wrong thing to fixate on, you know? I think that what we're trying to figure out, particularly in like business, is like, what is this is from Cole Gordon, is like, what is the problem and why is the problem a problem? Is like, what is going on here? And sometimes you'll see reps like not ask, like, hey man, what's the biggest challenge you've got right now? Or maybe like, what is not working as well as you feel like it should? And that is what your whole conversation is based around. That one thing is like what your whole conversation is based around. And so I think like if you're trying to be good at sales or learn sales and you want to get better at sales, is like, what is the problem? Like, why is this person here? And the tricky thing is like sometimes people will come on and they'll dodge it. And they're like, I don't have a problem. And you're like, okay, bro, like, well, you came to the call. You've got a problem, you know? And so sometimes you've got to like massage them a little bit and take them through and be like, okay, so what is it that stopped you from like getting the result you want? Maybe you have to talk about their goals first and then come back to the problem. But ultimately you need to find out what the problem is. And then they'll see you as an authority if like you've got the problem and the goal stack. So I'm here right now. This is where I want to be. And you stretch the gap and then you just build a bridge in the middle. And you're like, our service is the bridge. This is the solution. And that's it, really. Is like, you just need to find out, like, why does my life suck right now? What do I want it to look like? And then how do I get there? And that's
Is
your job, is to pull all of the things that they said in the discovery and lay out the pieces of the bridge in the pitch and be like, remember how you said you weren't like working enough and it wasn't getting what you wanted? Or remember how you said you tried to do crypto before, but you got confused? See how this will help you? And you're like basically placing the little steps of the bridge.
but can you say to them like, "What's your problem? Like, why are you here?" Is that
I wouldn't say like that, but I'd say like, yeah. I mean, sometimes I'd be like, if they're kind of like being and not answering, I'll just be like, cool, Zach. So why are we here, man? Like your life seems pretty good. How can we help? And like, I love to say, and I got this from a friend of mine who's an engineer. He's not a salesperson and like, but he was like selling his own product and he would just get on a call and be like, hey, how can I help? And people would just be like, oh, here, blah, blah, blah. And they were just telling all the problems. And I'm like, cool. I just get on and say, how can I help? And if you say that with like the casualness and like the actual, you're coming back to curiosity, people will just open up.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Another mentor of mine starts a conversation by saying, "How can I make this call worthwhile and valuable for you?"
Yep.
Do you think that's a good one?
Yeah, totally. Yep. And coming back to like, what are they expecting out of the call? You know, if they're expecting to have a problem solved on the call, awesome. If they're expecting to be qualified, in a way, like see if it's a good fit, then I would go first down the problem route.
AI, as we know, is changing the game in all aspects of life. How do you see AI impacting sales, lead gen, the high ticket space? Is it something that's going to disrupt it completely? Are we going to be out of a job? Is it going to allow us to sell more? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. I don't even have enough time in my day to like learn enough about it as I would like because it's just moving so fast and I know how important it is. And I'm like getting up early to practice stuff and learn stuff just so like it's moving so fast. I think that setters are dead. Like setting calls is going to be dead really fast. I think that's like 12 months is going to be done. And I think that closes, you're going to have to be really good. And I think like prices are going to rise on products. And so there's going to be more people selling higher ticket offers. And I think that there's going to be some sort of verification to prove that you're a human being and not an AI, because AI is going to become so good. I mean, it's already so great that I think there's going to be some sort of verification on a video call. I don't know what that looks like, but that's the only way that actually works. I think closing is fine, but setting on the dialing people on the phone, kaputs.
If you could go back to the beginning of your sales journey and change something or start again, what would you do differently?
Dude, I would just like I don't think I'd change anything about my sales journey. I would just save more money. Is be better at like personal finances, because being great at personal finances gives you options when you're in a situation that you don't want to be. And sometimes it takes you a couple of months to learn if a role is really good or really shit. And it's like if I had more cushioning earlier on in my career, I think I would have not taken opportunities, and I would have spent more time looking for the big step up. Yeah. And I like went from A to B to C to E to F versus like instead of going from A to X. You can make that move. It just takes like balls, and you need to find the right opportunity, and that takes patience and time. And yeah.
Just a couple of questions before we wrap up. Um, who have been some of your greatest mentors? I know that you've been connected to some awesome, epic people around the world. But yeah, who have been some of your people in your corner that have really supported you on your journey, not just in sales, but in other things too?
You for one, from when you're much younger. And then I think in the sales space, I think Cole Gordon is really great at explaining a sales process and taking you from like shitty to understanding what the fuck is going on. I think he's amazing. I don't know how, they place people on offers and stuff like that. I've heard that's a little bit harder these days. But his sales training is just magic. It's great. I think it's just like, you just learn really simply what to do, what is the structure, and then you just have to repeat. And then who else has been a great mentor? I mean, I'm very blessed to like, I've been in a men's group for like the last 7 years, even after traveling like full time. And so I've just got a really great group of friends that have like I've been really close with for so long. We're all going to Nicaragua in a month and a half to like hang out at my buddy's like rented a mansion on the beach. And so we're going to have like a fucking a hangout for the week and just like talk about business and life and stuff. So yeah, it's good. Good to do it with friends.
Super cool. Super cool. How my last question's the most exciting question, but before I ask that, how can people get in touch, and who is it that you help?
Yeah, if a rep want to get placed on offers, we vet the reps and make sure they're good enough. We're usually placing guys onto like 10K per month minimum commissions, 20, 30, 40, 50K. And then business owners, if they want help scaling an offer, I can scale the sales team. We can also help with the marketing and the sales. And so we'll do like fractional ownership is what it's called. Sometimes we just take ownership of the sales or the sales and the marketing, and help optimize that and crank it up, take it off of from, 100 grand a month to 1 million, or from 1 million to 2 million a month, or has to be a rough hit. That's it.
That's so good. That's so good. Everyone at home, I'll put the link somewhere around this video. Get in touch with Josh. Last question is, pause before we continue. The first way we as entrepreneurs introduce ourselves when we walk into a room, it's our energy, right? People feel that. And secondly, it's our face. How healthy do we look? So for the entrepreneurs out there who care about how they show up, I'd love to share with you personally. I've been utilizing some Korean skincare products now just for over a month, and I had no idea about them up until, even just 2 months ago. But it's by far one of the best investments I've made for my skin. I feel it's literally making me look younger, and it has this like glassy, super fresh look. And so this is the number one exported Korean beauty brand and skincare line in the world. The ingredients are second to none. Even pregnant women can utilize them, because out there's so many products that have toxins in them that really make our face not healthy over a long period of time. And so if you're out there and you want to match the energy that you output with how healthy you look, you can trial these products risk-free for 30 days. If you don't like them, send them back and get all your money back. If you're out there, if you're curious, check out the link below to learn. Let's get back to the episode. If you were to challenge us at home, right? A challenge this week, this month, this quarter, this next year, what would be that challenge to really help our sales or our mindset or whatever it is to take us to the next level?
You just talk to people and like get used to like the best closers and the people that go the furthest in life, just talk to people. I've noticed. And it's like, I just like, that wasn't naturally me. And now that's naturally me. And it's like, you can just ask the coffee person, the barista, like instead of being like, hey, how you going? They're like, good. What are you? I'm like, oh, Americano. It's like, oh, what's your favorite thing? And be like, oh, and just kind of like go banter back and forth like you do with your mates. And it's like, if you can get used to bantering with people, I think that's like the best skill to learn. And then you just collect friends along the way, and it can be a lot of fun. And I think like, yeah, just talk to more people, and in the moment, like if you listen to this and then you're at a coffee shop, you'll remember this, and you'll be like, if you don't do it, you'll be like, shit, I didn't do it, And it's like, just do it. It's just a conversation.
To go that extra mile with people when you're in life, just have that extra conversation, ask the extra question, just be a bit more curious, just continue the conversation, don't just end it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a muscle. What you're saying, what I really am picking up from what you're putting down is that sales can be really simple, and it can be a really fun, awesome process. You can go super far really quick. If you really have a balanced home life, you can, reach out to Josh or find an offer that really allows you to jump into the deep end, and you can learn the skills. It's learnable. You're not born with it, and learn the scripts, and then the script learns you. Yeah, learn the
Learn the
learn
script
the
so you can
script.
get the script.
Learn the script so you can forget the script. So there you go. Awesome. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you for the pearls of wisdom. Congrats on all your success out there. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Share this with someone. Who do you know who's in sales? Who do you know who's in business that is wanting to improve their sales process, make more commissions, and be more authentic in this process that might be some big process of sales? If you really want to help them out, please share this with them. We'll see you next time on the Breakthrough Moment podcast. Thanks, Josh.